All right, 7 o'clock. Call the Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 7 o'clock. On my committee is myself, Councilor Holmes, and Councilor Delicio. We have two items to take care of tonight. In the first one, I believe we have a guest, Catherine Fierick, if you can promote her. Awesome. Okay. From the docket of February 16th, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the following amendments of the revised ordinances. Um, 2-19.9 District Improvement Financing, the Economic Development Incentive Board, EDIB, shall establish and administer district improvement financing districts with related district improvement financing development programs pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40Q within economic opportunity areas or in areas of exceptional economic opportunities as designated by the municipal council. Each district shall have a unique development plan in a term of no more than 30 years. A, by order of the municipal council, the Attleboro Transit Oriented Development District with an area of 18.98 acres in the Attleboro Transit Oriented Invested Revenue District, which is counter coterminous with the Attleboro Transit Oriented Development District, are established as set forth in the document entitled Attleboro Transit Oriented Development District, District Improvement Financing Master Plan, Transit Oriented Development DIF Master Plan, adopted March 2nd, 2021, with the base value as per the assessor certification with which is incorporated herein by reference. By order of the municipal council, the Attleboro Transit Oriented Development Program and Attleboro Transit Oriented Invested Revenue District Development Program are established pursuant to the Transit Oriented Development DIF Master Plan and shall fulfill the purpose of identifying and allocating funds to improve, enhance, expand, or create new infrastructure and other improvements pursuant to the Transit Oriented Development DIF Master Plan as may be amended by the municipal council.
Second, sorry.
Motion's in order, and thank you for me having to look up coterminous, which basically means with the same boundary. And Catherine Fierick, thank you for joining us, the Economic Development Director for the city. I appreciate you coming back and answering any additional questions folks may have. I can start off by explaining the couple of items that I was hoping that you could expand on that may not, that I at least did not understand completely when we had the public hearing 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now. And that's this money that's being the improvement. So the growth revenue that's being redirected at 75% of it is redirected towards these improvements within the DIF area. What wasn't clear to me was that once we complete the projects identified in the master plan, this goes away. So we're setting it up as, no longer than 30 years. But the intent is that it's a shorter period. This will run through until the projects are completed, and then it goes away. So it's not like we're saying new growth. We're taking 75% of new growth away for the next 30 years. So can you talk a little bit about that and talk about, lay out the list of what the projects are, what the overall cost of those projects are?
Yeah, absolutely. The intention in having a 30-year term like this is in case the city does need to bond for any of the large infrastructure projects that are mentioned in the plan. That may or may not be the case. It really depends, because a lot of times developers will come in. It'll be a public-private partnership of some sort where they construct a garage. The city contributes some of the DIF revenues potentially. Maybe there's a grant involved. As an exchange, the city gets a number of municipal spots reserved within the garage. So that's one model that I've seen. Quincy North is using that model, for example. We could also build our own structure. In that case, there likely would be some sort of bonding. So the DIF revenues would need to go towards that. But you're absolutely correct. The way that Massachusetts lays out DIF It can't be used as a slush fund. It's actually very, very strict. It's the strictest I've come across in any state, actually, because I had a TIF, which is the same thing as DIF in Ohio, and we were able to use that to finance police vehicles and a new ambulance and things like that. Here in Massachusetts, you cannot. You're limited to the projects that you identify ahead of time within your plan. So it's very much a specific tool. What we have identified, it's really a floodplain management plan, because anything that's going to be built in that area may have to encounter floods from the river that's just across the street from there. We did build the park in recognition of that, but it still makes sense to investigate what effects that may have on new development across the street. The second item that we've accounted for is the plans and studies that go into the parking structure. We don't foresee those being all that expensive, just because we've done a lot of work on that in the past. We're doing some more work on that right now through an FTA subsidized study of this potential parking structure. But we will need to spend a little bit in adjusting the plans to whatever the ultimate format looks like, and the operational model. Finally, in terms of actual shovel in the ground infrastructure projects, we've identified access roads, which will very likely be necessary, especially if this becomes a district, which is what we're assuming it will, because it's a pretty large amount of land. And the parking structure, which is really the main reason for the existence of this tool. So yes, you're absolutely correct. It's 75% of future revenues, but only insofar as they finance the projects that are specifically identified in the plan. If we want to veer from that plan at all, the amendment process is about as rigorous as the initial approval process. So I would be coming back to all of you. There would be another public hearing. It cannot be changed from what it is easily. And that's a Massachusetts specific legislation to prevent it from becoming a slush fund where people can, put it into a crazy, say that you want a big splash pad in the middle of Gilbert Perry Square or something like that. You can't do that in Massachusetts. It's limited to the geographic boundaries that you set, and it's limited to the specific projects that you identify.
Outstanding. And do you have a rough total or estimated total for these?
Yes, absolutely. You're required to do that in Massachusetts as well, even though I'm sure that everybody on this list is aware that estimates change, especially these days. You're not held to the dollar figure, but they do want you to do that legwork in advance when you're setting up the district. So I don't want to quote a number off the top of my head, just because that's never a good idea. But on page 17 of the draft District Improvement Financing Master Plan, you see table 3, facilities to be constructed. Under that, you see studies and plans, flood management plan. We have estimated $25,000 for that. It's not a big amount. The design engineering for the parking structure, we were very cautious in that estimate. We said $1.6 million. That is an estimate for starting over entirely from scratch. We don't think we're going to need it, but we decided to be very conservative. So the total for the studies and plans is going to be $1,625,000. For the construction projects. Parking infrastructure expansion, which is that garage, is $22,336,000. Pedestrian safety infrastructure is $175,000, because we envision that being part of the necessary roadways that we may need to construct back there. And finally, access road construction at $293,697. So the total estimated costs for construction are approximately $22.8 million. That can change based on the scope of whatever the future development may look like. So it's really just a placeholder until we put the land out to bid and we see what kind of development plans come back.
Perfect. Excellent. And the one other thing I'd like to double check and confirm is that the HDIP, the Housing Development Incentive Program, money that we use to incentivize businesses to improve within the TOD, that money comes out of the DIF, correct? First?
That money is subtracted from the total cost first before
Okay.
any diff revenues. So
Got it.
if you start with a baseline of $1 million, you construct something that's $5 million, and let's just say for the ease of calculation, you get a 50% HDIP tax increment exemption. So you're only paying taxes on 2.5 of that $5 million in excess. The whatever goes into the diff would be out of that 2.5 million. It wouldn't be out of the whole 5 million, so that their exemption percentage goes down or the general revenue fund takes a hit. Now, the tax increment exemption comes out first, and then the percentage formula is applied to whatever the remainder may be.
Outstanding. Thank you, Catherine. And so those are the questions in the areas I was hoping you could cover, but I'd like to open it up to the rest of the council if anybody else has questions. Kathleen?
Thank you, Todd. Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
So this may be a very obvious question, forgive me, but on page 19, where it's where you list the projects and the parking infrastructure at 22 mil, that's not going to be paid for with diff revenues. It looks like am I right?
Yeah, that's a kind of funny diagram. They said, what are you going to be seeking in terms of the financing package? So really whatever it might be, you just throw it in there. So for example, for the parking infrastructure expansion, we could very well get a MassWorks grant to help offset some of those costs. We can issue general obligation bonds for the parking structure. The diff revenues pay as you go means year after year, whatever's in the diff account, you can spend towards something. So that's for if I were going to hire somebody, the diff revenues pay as you go would probably be the best option for that. Diff bonds or general obligation bonds, we opted not to do diff bonds. We talked to our counsel, our bond counsel on that, and they suggested general obligation bonds would be the most secure tool to use in that case. But regardless, you can use diff revenues to serve those bonds. And then finally, the private partnership, like I said, other communities such as Quincy North, that station, a private partner was the one that constructed the garage, but the diff revenues can be can factor into that decision to ensure that the city gets a set number of spaces, and that it's not entirely for residential development, but it can also help to benefit the commercial activity within the district. So we were really just asked to identify like every single option for the financing for the specific projects, regardless of whether or not we think that they're all that plausible.
Can I ask Todd Mascott?
Please.
So Catherine, first question, how confident are you that you'll find these sources? And if you don't find them, can that project be altered based upon the money you do have available?
Well, the budget that you saw that I discussed earlier with Todd,
right,
that is the most conservative budget, meaning if we don't get additional grants, if we don't get a private partner investing in any of these projects, then this is the total amount that we believe we're going to have to spend.
Okay.
So any kind of grants or anything like that would just be gravy that would help these projects get financed quickly, and then the general revenue fund would benefit sooner.
Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Todd.
Sure enough. Do any other counselors have questions? Counselor Holmes.
Thank you. So 75% of the future growth here in Attleboro would be going towards this?
Within the transit-oriented development district, not within the whole city.
Okay. And so once we agree to this, then we're committed to it.
You are committed to it. But as I mentioned to Todd, once the projects are funded, everything goes back to the general revenue fund.
Okay. And so I guess I'm kind of missing what the benefit of this is, that it's just going to be for this project. Why do we, I guess?
Well, the benefit is a lot of times with the general revenue fund, there are a lot of different obligations that come from that. It's more difficult to set aside funds to put into public works projects to allow for denser construction or higher value construction. So DIF is really a tool to allow private development to occur and to let the tax increment from that new development pay for the infrastructure that's required to get it there. So you're setting aside because you know that if we're going to build X number of buildings, you're going to need things like roads, you're going to need things like parking structures to allow for the highest and the best use on that land. So it's a way of kind of setting aside funds that you know you're going to be getting from the development in order to help that development materialize. Without a diff in place, if the city itself had to just issue general obligation bonds, pay for it entirely out of what they believe their budget will be from the general revenue fund, it's a little bit more difficult for developers to think, okay, yeah, they're obviously going to make a commitment to us. They have all these other obligations. So if you have a diff fund, developers say, oh, great, they're already planning for this growth. You know, they'll have the funds available because we know how much we're building on this site. We can project out how much revenues the city's going to have in this account. So we know that the city can stand with us as a partner. It's not up to chance anymore. So the roads will be built. The floodplain management plan will be done because we know how much we're investing. So it gives the developers a degree of confidence that the infrastructure projects will emerge.
Okay, so all this money will eventually go to development, to the developer, to the private partners, or
No, not necessarily. Every single dollar from the diff account has to go towards infrastructure. So it's something that the city has an interest in. So when it comes to a public-private partnership, that would be something where the developer says, yes, I can build a parking structure. I can manage that parking structure in perpetuity. I can keep it up, sure. If you give me X percentage of your diff revenues over the next however many years, then I will make sure that the city has a municipal floor to the parking structure. That's how a public-private partnership would work. But there's also an option where the city could maintain the ownership of that garage entirely, manage it, do everything ourselves. So we're leaving that piece of it open, but everything has to have a public purpose that you spend diff funds on. And it has to be infrastructure related.
okay, so all jobs are going to go out to bid?
The land is going to go out to bid, absolutely. If they're using city funds to build the garage, which I would assume they would, it would be done according to state and local procurement regulations. I couldn't tell you what those regulations are because I'm fairly new to Massachusetts, but we would have them comply with any applicable regulations.
Okay, and so how many places, do you know how many of these exist in the state? Like how many, does North Attleboro have this? Or I'm just wondering.
I don't know the exact numbers. I can tell you that I've been using several cities as a guide. Brockton has one, and they did similar. They used it to finance a parking structure near their train station. Quincy has several. Almost every parking structure that you can look at in Quincy, and a lot of the streetscape improvements have been financed through DIF. So they've been very, very successful with it. I want to say that I'm terrible with names. It's an H city, and I know they're very different, but either Haverhill or Holyoke has one also. But I did review several of the models before embarking on the technical assistance project with Mass Development.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. President Cooper.
Thank you. So thank you, Catherine, for coming down. I just want to piggyback a little bit on to Council Holmes's comments around the commitment to, I think the word she uses, we're committed to it, right? Mm-hmm. But I want to make sure that I understand what the it is, right? Because I'm committed to the DIF ordinance as you suggested here, but are we as a city making a commitment to a $22 million parking garage? Is that what we're saying?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
That's what I wanted to make sure that,
right.
that people understand, is that we're making a commitment to a DIF, but not necessarily the projects within it per se, right?
Because right. We're merely setting aside for the potential need for this infrastructure. So if somebody comes in and they just want to go, hey, we're building this entire village, roads, streets, garage, and everything, that is great. And all this money will just go into the general revenue fund. But chances are that's not going to happen. So we're trying to plan for the best use of the land. And if that involves increasing density, that means that usually there's an infrastructure component.
Sure. I understand that. I just wanted to make sure that everybody, most most importantly, the public understood what it was, right? So, because I can imagine we'd probably be getting phone calls tomorrow thinking that we just committed to a $22 million parking garage. We just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
No, you don't have to finance every single thing that's in your plan, but you cannot finance any projects that are not in your plan.
Got it. Thank you.
Counselor Dolan.
Thank you. So you said, so, all right. So thank you, President Cooper, for clarifying that, because I had almost the same question. So as far as, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of how, so we're not committing to anything. So this is just for potential. So how do these projects get approved? Where do they go? What do they go through for something to be approved?
Sure. The way that the plan is structured, there is a body that has to administer DIF funds to make sure that they match what is laid out in the plan. We have nominated the Economic Development Incentive Board for that, which consists of the city treasurer, the mayor, the assessor, myself, the planning director, the head of the capital projects committee here on council, and also the president of the council. So there's good elected and appointed leadership, different expertise, because frankly, without our assessor, I would have been lost through this project. Like, you need that kind of expertise to guide the process. So going forward, if any expenditures are requested out of these DIF proceeds, it would go through the Economic Development Incentive Board, and it would, because it's the expenditure of city funds, it would ultimately go through council as well.
Thank you.
Anybody else? This is a fairly, I guess it's not that complicated, but it's good that we all understand it. And Catherine, I appreciate you coming back to help us understand it a bit more. Last call if anybody has any further questions. All right.
It is actually a very complicated tool. I did one of these in Ohio, like I said, and once you get into the weeds, there's a lot of minutia, like how the funds flow through a city government. There are a lot of the types of questions that you all asked me tonight that do come up during that process. So I'm happy to answer any further questions, and I do appreciate the ones that I've gotten, because they're all very good questions.
So one more question to add on to what Councillor Holmes had asked with regard to why do this as opposed to just setting the money aside. With your experience, I know it was in Ohio, but did you see that by the city making a commitment to invest in these infrastructure things, did you see that result in incentivizing development in those areas? Did you see a direct correlation?
Absolutely, yes. As soon as we designated a district in Ohio, the property owner, who was a very negligent property owner within that district, it was like one large property and a couple of smaller ones. And the major property owner, who had one of those defunct malls, the kind that's a little bit too small for today, but too big to support a small business, that kind of like obsolete strip mall. They actually made a very large investment in their property, because they were able to get a public park where there was formerly a retaining wall and a really crumbly, disgusting former parking lot. So with that city investment and making it a little bit more desirable, they actually spruced up their property and got some additional office tenants in. So it worked out pretty well in Ohio. It's a big flag that you wave saying, hey, this is an area we want to focus our efforts on. We are doing our due diligence, making sure that we have what it takes to invest in infrastructure to support your private investment.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That
was a much smaller one, though. This area has so much raw potential. It's unlike anything that I've ever worked with before. That was peanuts compared to this.
Councilor Dolan.
Sorry, just one quick question. So it shows our commitment for the infrastructure. Is it almost like a subsidy?
It's not really a subsidy, because chances are the city would have to pay for something like that anyway.
Okay.
the way that I see it, the big piece here is the parking structure. So I'm just going to go back to that one because I think that roads are a lot more clear. Like if somebody builds something, there's going to be a road that's constructed. But when it comes to that parking structure, if it's not there, the level of development that we can see within the TOD is going to be much less dense, much less valuable, much less tax revenue generated. So with that parking structure in place, you can expect higher buildings, you can expect a density of office and residential and retail uses that you can't necessarily support if you don't have adequate parking for it.
I got it. I'm catching on. I'm getting there. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Outstanding. Thank you. Any last questions? All right. So I'll share my thing. I am very much supportive of this. I think it's great for the downtown area. I think it's a genius way to sort of make a commitment to these developers to like, hey, if you build in our downtown area, we'll commit to investing in that area as well. So I think it's a great thing. I think it's great for the city, and I encourage folks to support it. But this is just to vote it out of committee. To Councilor Holmes, you're the other person on the committee that's here tonight. Do you have any last comments before we vote?
I think I'm supportive of it as well, and it sounds like I'm thinking of it as like almost like a credit score. Like it's telling developers like we're interested in this and we're committed as well. And so it seems to make sense to me.
All right. No further questions. We'll have a quick vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. And thank you again, Catherine. I appreciate you coming in and helping to clarify some of those questions that we had. So thank you so much. And moving on, we have one other item. I just need to find it here. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $3,540 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1175010-530-101 Planning and Land Use Professional Services to have a Form A plan prepared with legal description to subdivide approximately 4-acre parcel of land at Highland Park.
Second.
Motion's in order. This is just to hire a surveyor to survey the land where the banquet hall is at Highland Park to explore potential uses to that. Does anyone have questions on that? It's to develop a Form A plan. Councilor Waterman? You muted.
Muted.
Sorry. Are there any specifics in terms of a use that are being looked at, or is this?
No, this is just to professional services to survey the land and create the was it Form A plan?
All right, that's it. Thanks.
Any other questions? Councilor Blair?
Would the subdivision of that piece of property have to come back before the council?
My understanding is to sell it. Yes, absolutely.
Right. This is,
yes.
It wouldn't have to be done if it was a city project, correct?
We'd still be spending money there.
Oh, I understand we spending money, but we wouldn't have to subdivide it, city property, right?
True. President Cooper, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, so right at this moment, what we're considering is figuring out what the legal description would be, frontage, et cetera, for the banquet hall and the current city services that are in the building beside it, and trying to figure out how that layout might look and what could potentially happen with that building, if anything.
for a sale.
Maybe.
In my opinion, I think this just makes sense as part of doing our due diligence generally, for whatever we decide to do moving forward.
This isn't, excuse me if I might interject,
If
this isn't a way around of putting a senior center up there, is it,
No.
Mr. President?
It's-
President Cooper?
So I think that option's been explored. And last I heard that was not supported, but the senior center would be a city
Project.
project. So there'd really be no reason to spend $3,400 or $3,500 on that project, right? So there's been a lot of things, as you know, people have explored potential options there, continuing as a wedding venue, continuing as a restaurant, continuing it as I think it was explored as to be a brewery, a brew house or something at one point. So there's been a lot of interest in it, but the city hasn't been able to move with any of that because it's part of a 93-ish acre parcel, right? So we've got to sort of understand what that looks like. And this is going to help figure that out.
Thank
Councilor
you.
Holmes?
Thank you. So, sorry, I didn't know if I was muted. Will we be getting this report, I guess, when it's completed? Or where will this be
It
available?
would be public record and we could request it.
Okay. Okay.
So any other questions, comments? President Cooper?
So it's going to go before the planning board. It's going to have to.
Fair
The
enough.
Form A plan. So they'll have access to what this will look like and moving forward. And it's on my radar.
Fair enough. All right.
So basic, excuse me.
Vice President Jackson?
Thank you. So basically, this is just for them to Form A it, to let us know what can be done with that piece of property, and just to throw it out there, what we're allowed to do, what people can put in there, and basically that's all that's going to happen with this at this point. And it would have to come before us if we sell any of it off anyways, because we are ultimately the ones that decide whether or not we can sell it, correct?
That's correct.
Yes,
This is
okay.
just to survey and create the
Perfect.
Form A
I
plan.
thought so. Okay, thank you.
Luann,
Councilor Conti?
I'll just add that I've been out getting signatures in the neighborhood, abutters to the Highland Park, and ride on Councilor Cooper's comments. It's not just on his radar, it's on everybody's radar. Everybody's paying close attention to what's going on over there, myself included. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Conti.
what-
President Cooper, go ahead.
just Councilor Conti, remind me, are you a direct abutter?
Yes, I am.
So did you vote on the acquisition of the parcel?
I did not, and I will not be voting on this issue.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. No further questions. We'll vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Not motion passes. That concludes the business for the Zoning and Land Use Committee. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at 7:33.
I'd
Thank
like
you.
to call the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee to order at 7:33. I have several issues and discussions to have with you this evening. Starting with from the docket of, sitting on this committee are Councilor Dolan as Vice Chair and Councilor Waterman. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $4,127.92 from account 1124100057830 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 121010000-524011 Police Maintenance of Buildings to repair the police station air conditioning.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. So we all read the memo from Kyle Hagney to Paul Heroux. And what they're looking for is called an economizer. And I asked for the service quote and I received it. That it surprises me that this unit is 39 years old and could be repaired to acceptable standards for this much money. Where in most other cases in the city, whenever an air conditioner is starting to fail, we've got to replace the whole GD unit. So if we had to replace this unit, and I quote, it would be very, 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 very expensive. So kudos to the chief for finding SS Service Corporation able to repair the unit and get it, especially in light of the pandemic where we need proper air circulation in the building. I think this is a very necessary thing, and I hope the councilors will see it through. But does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, the motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $35.76 from account 321559900 cap demo old landfill other financing uses to account 3219-499000 W wastewater project CV number 1 dated 11/22/16 other financing sources to close Fund 3215 and to use the funds towards the remaining work related to the cap and demo construction.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. So this is housekeeping, just to transfer old accounts into what's going to be needed in the future. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $29,485.59 from account 322359900 vehicle equipment other financing uses to account 3225-499000 wastewater plant upgrade other financing sources to finance a portion of the wastewater treatment plant upgrades authorized on April 16, 2019.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. So a memo from Jeremy to the, let me find it, it's right here somewhere. No, it's not from Jeremy. It's from Deborah Gould. So it was to the letter to mayor dated March 10th, 21 on capital projects required action of the municipal council. And she's talking about Fund 3223 vehicle equipment. And she was taking the balances were from wastewater capital projects initially funded for the retained earnings. The project was funded with available sources, not debt. Therefore, the balance in the fund can be used for any lawful wastewater enterprise related purpose. So again, it's a housekeeping item to fund the projects that need to be done. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
Okay, seeing none, motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to appropriate $50,000 from account 1000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to fund 3558 fire department roofs for the design portion of roof replacement.
Second.
Yep.
Thank you. I heard Councilor Waterman first. So this was the memo from Jeremy that said that we could use the $50,000 to finish the design work on the roof because there wasn't enough money in the account to get the work done. And as we all know, roofs are very important to protect the capital equipment that is owned by the city. So I am urging you to agree to this transfer as well, so that the design of project can begin in April. And the chief is saying that The construction portion of the project, which will be procured late spring for a late summer construction start, will also need funding. So there's more requests coming. And the estimated cost of that roof is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 400,000. So this is on design work. This transfers for design. Are there any questions? Yes, Councilor Dolan.
What roof? Is this for one roof?
Yes, this is for the roof on the
Union Street?
Union Street station.
And it's $400,000?
Yep, it's a big building.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, Councilor Waterman.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we also were talking about the Briggs Corner roof.
Yes, there was also discussion about the Biggs Corner roof, but I believe, and I don't see that this is referred to in the Briggs Corner. This is, and maybe he's lumped them all together. That's a possibility. But I thought this was for the Union Station. Regardless, I think we all agree that the roofs on all the fire stations need to be secure and not leaking.
Yes.
Are there any other comments? Yes, Councilor Blair.
I do believe when that was sent down originally, that was for a combination of the fire department roofs for the engineering and bidding and whatever it's doing. I believe this is strictly, not strictly, it involves both buildings. If I remember correctly, when it was sent down the original.
Yeah, the memo from the chief is not clear. It's simply on fire department roof replacement, and it's singular in his headline. So that's what threw me off. I was thinking that this was just for Union Street.
I'm pretty sure it was in my committee back then, and it was for both buildings.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go with that. Let's go with that. I'm okay with that. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Council Conde. So before next week, if you wouldn't mind just talking with the chief about that.
Yep.
I'm sure it's not like 2 roofs or 3 roofs or the 4 fire stations. Who knows? Thank
Makes
you.
perfect sense. Any other comments? Very well. I'd like to get this out of committee. So with no other comments, motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'll have more information for you next week. Now, regarding the capital improvement fund, council committee members, I need to have a conversation with you. I have written a resolution for the mayor. The resolution is exactly like the resolution in 2019. It is simply 4 whereas and a therefore that basically says we would like to see a reestablishing of the capital improvement fund in the budget. And if not, then we'd like to see free cash used after state certification. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to talk with either one of you, whether or not you have any pet projects. So I'm going to tell you what my thinking is, and then I would like you to tell me what your thinking is. My thinking is that there are approximately $600,000 in urgent projects that, not including the big school projects of the roof, the parking lots and the air conditioning, a lot of which still needs to be ironed out. But in the school department, the 2 facade replacements and all the other projects that were urgent come to about $600,000. And in a meeting with Jeremy and with the mayor, I said, why can't we put at least right now $600,000 in the capital improvement budget and start the process with that $600,000 there, knowing that as things go on, push comes to shove, and new sources of financing and revenues are not located and things get cut. That's the normal process of a budget. But let's start with the $600,000 capital improvement line item in the budget. The last time I spoke with the 2 of them, they both agreed that that was a reasonable request. If that were to happen, then we could get everything done this year that is urgent and needs to get done. Both the facades on both schools, the Willett and Studley, could get done, and all the projects we saw in the fire department, the Parks and Rec, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. barring that, as the budget goes forward, we're going to be pushed into a more urgent status of trying to campaign for particular projects to get done. And I'd like to not see that happen. I'd like to see us hang together as a committee and a council to push for $600,000 in capital improvements. Because I'd like the fire department to get everything that they have is urgent. Same with that Mobach chipper and everything else that's on us. Now, Dennis Walsh has already gotten a few projects started. He's already got the money done for the ramp at Bartek Center. So that came off the list. So that's my opinion. I'd like to hear what either one of you have to say regarding that subject.
Well, I think 600.
Go ahead, Councilwoman, you have the floor.
Thank you. I think 600,000 is very fair. I'm not sure what all these projects will end up adding up to. I didn't try that out privately yet. But it sounds like you feel that they do fit within $600,000. I would add in, if we have not already added it in, the entrance to the Briggs Pool, if we want to have Briggs Pool opened. So that's one I would throw in, that in addition to what you already added.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Dolan, the floor is yours.
So you're suggesting the $600,000 to cover all the urgent needs. Is that what you just said?
That is correct.
Okay. I agree with that. And if they will, I mean, $600,000 would be a bonus for them to set aside, because we, as we all know, we're always playing catch up, and the urgent list just grows and grows until we have no choice.
So, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So I would agree with that $600,000 figure.
So, I believe I asked Virginia to circulate to the two of you the capital improvements resolution. Did we do that, or did we not?
Yeah.
Council Dolan, Councilwoman, did you get a copy of the resolution?
All the whereases, right?
That's right.
Yes, I did.
You did. Council Dolan, you got one too? You're muted. Council Dolan, you're muted.
So I know. Sorry. You gotta give me a second to click the button. That was sent last week, right? There was
Correct.
nothing new.
Nothing new.
Okay. Yes, I got it.
Okay. So you've both read that. You're not inclined to make any changes to it. Can we have a motion to pass that resolution to send it on to the council? Wait a minute. We have a hand from President Cooper. President Cooper?
No, I was just waiting to see if you were going to seek input from anyone else or just your committee.
Well, I was going to get it through the committee and onto the council floor and have a general council discussion on the council floor. But if you think that it's wiser to have that discussion now, I'll be happy to do it.
Well, I think I just want to add my 2 cents. I did get it, if I may, Council Conti. So I got the whereas, and I think it is, if we're going to send this document to the mayor, I think, in my opinion, it's important to put the 600,000 urgent projects that you and the committee and the council, if the council is so inclined to, vote in the affirmative for that, to put that in writing, right? And the way to do it is through this resolution, because these are the things that we think through the capital improvements plan that you and your team have identified as urgent projects that the council is, if you can find the money, would be supportive of. I think it's important to put a piece in here about the school things that are in there that are still in the works, right? And how you decide to word that is up to you and your committee, but it just feels like those 2 things are big. They're big infrastructure improvements for the city, and I think you and the committee in this resolution should share the work that your committee did to bring that before the council and send it to the mayor. And that concludes my comments.
Very good comments. Thank you. Councilor Blair, you have the floor.
Just a quick question. I must be out of the loop on this. The $8 million that we said we had in free cash that's sitting up there, past administrations have used that free cash to do these projects. And evidently it's not being used because we're passing loan orders for stuff. The COVID money, I understand, is enormous out there now. So if you were keeping that aside because of this COVID epidemic and we were going to be short on our money from the state,
Bovis epidemic. Sorry.
no, don't be a smarter.
Right, Councilor Kovas, you're out of order.
He's never been in order.
Go on, Councilor Blair. You have the floor.
No, what we're going through with the pandemic, excuse me. I see his reasoning for not using any of it was budgetary, upcoming budget. But we've got a lot of money and there's a lot of money coming down. You must have heard about it in Taunton, Mr.
Yes, I have, and I've been very much involved in it because
there
it's.
there is a lot of money out there right
Yeah.
now. Been
But
a
what
lot
what I'm trying to do, Peter, is I'm trying to get the administration to actually physically budget a hard number into the budget every year and
Yeah.
not take it away.
I understand that. I'm with you. A lot of this stuff should be budgeted. It shouldn't
Right.
be.
Right. For example, think about a Vector truck. You and I have been talking about a Vector truck since we've both been on the city council, and it's
Originally,
never been funded.
Originally, that was less than $200,000.
Yeah. Now it's $500,000
Yeah, plus.
So what I'm trying to do, Peter, is structural. And yes, I know the free cash money is there, and yes, I know we advocated free cash, but it's a battle with everybody else on free cash. Whereas if it's in the budget, it's a fixed asset to be spent for a specific purpose.
A lot of stuff should be in the budget. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But if it's not there, just to have this $8 million sitting there when we've got plenty of money coming on the COVID pandemic, there's plenty of money.
And plenty of demands. Does anyone else have any comments? Councilor Dolan.
I have no problem. I mean, depending on how you feel as the chair, to change the resolution to insert the particular urgent needs. I'm fine with that. Or if, I know before we used to have our own meetings to discuss it as a committee, and I really don't feel like we've been able to cover that this time around. So I would be open to that if you felt the need. Again, you being the chair, whatever you decide.
Okay, that's a very good suggestion, and I will take that as an action item to set up a capital improvements and city development meeting with the committee members. Maybe next, if you're not available this Thursday, are you both of you available this Thursday at 7 o'clock?
I can do this Thursday.
No can do.
Oh, don't have enough time. And we need 48 hours to
right.
advertise it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Next week is a regular meeting. Maybe we could get together Monday.
Next week is Fifth Tuesday.
Oh,
So
next week is
perfect,
Fifth
Richard.
Tuesday.
You could do it
Yeah.
this Tuesday.
Let's do it
Yeah.
next Tuesday night.
All right. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, let's do it next Tuesday night.
Okay.
Capital Improvement and City Development meeting at 7 p.m. And we will go over this resolution. We'll address the $600,000. We'll address the school units and how they're going to be addressed. And we'll draft a resolution for the council on the first meeting in February. No, wait, we want to get it through a committee vote first. Well, we could do that Tuesday night. So on the first week of April,
April.
we could present to the council the resolution for approval. That'd be perfect timing.
Excellent.
Perfect timing.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. So I just want to move on to one last subject and then we can adjourn. The council assigned to the Capital Improvement City Development Committee a piece of new business to do an assessment of the IT department in light of the demands brought on by the COVID pandemic. I've done a lot of work on this, and I've written a 3-page assessment that summarizes my findings. And I want to give the both of you, because it was a committee assignment, the opportunity to add to the scope of work, to add to the comments, to add to the investigation, if you're so inclined. If you're not inclined, it's perfectly acceptable to look at this assessment that I have written and go with that. That is up to you. Councilor Dolan, I see your hand.
So I read your assessment and I just, and again, you as the chair, I just didn't, I know it said in there that you spoke to the fire chief and the police chief. I just didn't hear any narrative of what their opinion was, what their comment was in what you discussed.
Yep. So much of what the conversations I had with the fire chief and the police chief had to do with a subject that's outside the scope of this particular assessment. And it has to do with a piece of new business that was put into Councilor Blair's committee.
Right, having
So
a separate.
I didn't want to cross over to that. I wanted to stick to the piece of new business that was assigned to the Capital Improvement and City Development Committee. So what I would like to suggest is that next Tuesday, when we get together to talk about the resolution, let's also discuss the assessment. So there'll be 2 items on the agenda for next Tuesday night, and we can bat this around.
Okay.
Okay. And that'll be on Zoom. And okay, excellent. I think that's a good progressive move. So, Councilor Kobus.
Was this assessment sent out to just the committee, or?
It was sent to only the committee because it was a committee assignment. And so my take on this, Councilor Kobus, was because the new business was to conduct an assessment and it was assigned to the Capital Improvement and City Development Committee, the council was looking for an assessment to come from the Capital Improvement Committee. Perhaps I'm wrong, but that's the way I took the assignment.
Sure. If you're comfortable with it, I'd love to also take a look at it, but
you're welcome to join us Tuesday night.
Thank you. Sounds
if
good.
you're
Well,
around.
if you could send it ahead of time, so that I could review it prior, that'd be great.
I don't want to distribute it until the committee gets an opportunity to beat it around.
Sounds good.
Yep. Anyone else have any comments before we adjourn? Excellent. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. I
Aye.
declare the Capital Improvement City Development Committee adjourned at 7:58. Thank you all very much.
So I call the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee together at 7:58. And we have two items of business today. Aretha Weedbrook still has been waiting on the line, I believe. Is she there, Jim? There, I see her name, Aretha Still. If she could come. There you are. Hi. How are you?
Hi. Good evening. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for your patience this evening.
Of course.
I hope you enjoyed listening.
I did.
So, Aretha, before I make a motion, I would like if you could introduce yourself to us. Aretha is interested in joining the Disability Commission. And perhaps you could introduce yourself to us and then share what particularly interests you about joining, because Liz, talking to you, you've got a lot of skills that could go in different ways.
Thank you.
So you can share what you do for a living, and that's pretty good. And why the Disability Commission? So
okay, so I will start with what I do for a living. So I have been with a community hospital currently for 8 years in my position as Senior Director of Business and Financial Operations. A lot of that is I have over 20 sites, which I'm heavily involved in the PHO, which is population health, where it's striving, again, more patient related, but it's striving to help individuals that may have disabilities and to improve making sure they have better health outcomes, health determinations and factors like that. I am on quite a few committees for work. And we do a lot of projects outside of work. So I do a lot of project planning for my physician group, along with grants and growth and capital projects. So one of the things, I do have a 9-year-old son who does play sports here in Attleboro. I've been in Attleboro for many years.
And your
I do have,
I forgot to ask for your address, please.
oh, for my address?
Please.
I live at 41 Knott Street.
Right.
And I have been here in this home since 2013. And I just want to say I love my neighborhood. So because I do a lot of different committees in the area where I work, which is the Southbridge location and all the surrounding communities where I do have sites. I wanted to be able to offer or assist and help the community that I live in, as I was kind of explaining to you, in hoping that I can collaborate and serve as some type of resource for individuals with disabilities, along with helping and assisting Marion with project planning and hopefully approving individuals with disabilities have better outcomes.
And your timing is right on. We're finishing up. I think we're finishing up an ADA survey of all the buildings in the city that we own.
That is correct. I have joined the past couple months with on the meetings with Mary as well.
Right. So thank you for the work you've already put in. And are there anybody that may have a question of Aretha? Thank you, Councilor Jackson.
Hi, Aretha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Kate Jackson. I'm actually, you live in my ward. Knott Street is a great neighborhood. Thank you very much for volunteering. We
Absolutely
need more people, and we're very fortunate to have someone like you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And Councilor DeSimone.
Thank you, Ty. Aretha, my name's Kathleen DeSimone. I also happen to live in Ward 4, but I want to thank you for your willingness to serve on the Disabilities Commission. Your expertise sounds like it will be a perfect fit. So thank you very much for serving the commission and for serving the city in this capacity. Good luck.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
Are there anybody else who would like to speak? Seeing none, we will be having a vote in a minute, and in 2 weeks, we'll be reconvening as an entire council 2 weeks from tonight, and the entire council will vote. And after that, you can go to the clerk's office and be sworn in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming and for being watching us all this time. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so from the docket of April 6, 2021, I would entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Aretha Wiedbrock Still of Knott Street to fill an expired term of the Disability Commission, term to expire February of 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. I don't hear any, so unanimous. And we move on to our other piece of business. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept the donation of $50 in Stop and Shop gift cards from Lori Scales to the Veteran Office on behalf of World Down Syndrome Day, March 21st, 2021.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The vote passes. And I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we will conclude the business of the Personnel and Veterans Committee and call for the next committee meeting the next appropriate time. Thank you.
I'd like to
Also-
call Public Safety Emergency Management to order, please, at 8:04. I have 5 motions this evening. And my fellow members, Councilor Cobus and Councilor Delicio. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $5,000 from account 112410000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1220100-514010 Fire College Credits.
Second.
This is contractual, but normally they have money to transfer, but because the overtime account was cut last year in the budget, they don't have money internally to transfer. So it's contractual. They did the work. Let's pay them.
Mhm.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to appropriate $45,000 from account 100-35900 undesignated fund balance free cash government to account 1220100-513021 fire dispatcher overtime.
Second.
Second. This is another account that the overtime was cut last year during the budget cycle. They come up short, plus they had fire dispatcher resign. So they were minus the dispatcher, which caused the overtime to go up. So this money is to carry them through till the end of the year. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to appropriate $15,712 from account 1000-35900 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 1220100-515030 fire severance sick time incentive.
Second.
Thank you. This is also contractual.
One quick point of order,
Sure.
$50,712.03. I think we left off the 3 cents. I'm not sure if that's
I'll kick it
required for
in,
us.
Todd.
Just to,
The least I can do. Thanks, Todd. I missed that. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve expending of the Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG, in the amount of $15,500 awarded to the fire department and approve expending of any future grant amendments.
Second.
Second. This goes along with the next motion. It's sort of combined. This award gives us the opportunity to buy necessary equipment that wasn't in the budget. And this equipment is a towable tank and pump they'll use on brush fires and whatnot. And it'll be towed by the fire department pickup truck, their Ford pickup truck. And it's just, we've got the money to spend, and this is a worthwhile piece of equipment. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Now, this next one goes along with it. That piece of equipment was a little short. So this next motion is I entertain a motion to transfer $2,634 from account 1124100-578-57830 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 12201-000-587082 fire mini apparatus to be used with the EMP grant.
Second.
This is the money needed to make up the difference in the cost of that piece of equipment. Any questions or comments?
I do.
Yes, Kate.
Thank you. So I just want to make sure I understand this. So they got a grant
Yeah,
and they decided they wanted to buy a piece of equipment that they don't, but the grant doesn't have enough money to pay for that piece of equipment. So the city is,
right. He's asking to subsidize it with money out of citywide reserve for
and
transit.
there's nothing else they can do with $15,500 that they can come up by. Yeah. It's nothing.
Evidently not, Kate. I don't run the fire department. They said.
I know. I just figured you might have asked him that.
No, it's a piece of equipment they feel they need it. And there's pieces of equipment throughout the city that's not being used. So I take the fire chief at his word that this is a piece of equipment that would help the firemen fight brush fires.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. I have no other business this evening. Move to adjourn at
Second.
8:00. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we adjourn. Thank you.
Transportation and traffic, I have nothing to report, but if Councilor Conti or Councilor Reynolds has anything to discuss or questions to ask, I'll be more than happy to call a meeting. Councilors, yay,
Fine.
nay? Okay.
No, I
then-
don't have any concerns. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
No, I
then-
thought that everything I read this week was pretty clear.
All right, thank you, Councilor Conti. Then I would just state for the record that the next meeting of the Traffic Study Commission is April 29th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. Thank you.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 8:13. I have 4 items of business to discuss with you all this evening. First, from the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $13,700 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-599000 Water Enterprise Fund Other Financing Uses, and further transfer $13,700 from account 6100-599000 Water Enterprise Fund Other Financing Uses to fund account 3338499000 Effluent Valves Other Financing Sources to replace 4 filter effluent valves and controllers at the West Street Water Plant.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. So the water treatment plant has 4 of these valves. 2 of them are not working at all, and the other 2 have to be manually controlled. In other words, they have to go downstairs and they have to actually turn it and crank it and get it going. These controllers have been in the building since its existence. So because 2 have failed and they've all come from the same year, they're afraid that all 4 will fail. So they need to replace all 4. Any questions or comments? All
Nope.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. From the docket of April 6th, 2021, I entertain a motion to appropriate $65,000 from account 6100-359-000, Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to fund 338 effluent valves.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan.
I think you forgot a 3. I think it was 3338.
3338. Yes, thank you for correcting me. All this goes along with the same motion just before. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $25,000 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-530331 Water Enterprise Fund Leak Detection to replenish funds used for unexpected needs from the leak detection account.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan. So every year, we do have a leak detection survey done down at the water treatment plant. However, they've had to deplete those funds this year due to several of issues that they had. So they used that particular fund for truck repairs, software upgrades, engineering assist for the PFAS. So this is to replace that because we do have to do a leak detection survey. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion, opposed? Motion passes. Lastly, from the docket of April 6th, I entertain a motion to transfer. No, I'm sorry, I'm missing one. I have 2 more. I entertain a motion to appropriate $18,326.60 from account 1000-359-000 undesignated fund balance free cash for general government to account 1420-1000-587010 Public Works Small Equipment to purchase a heavy-duty scanner diagnostic tool for vehicles.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan. So this was never in our capital improvements plan, mainly because, they never had Wi-Fi in the Public Works building. Since the day it was built, it's never had Wi-Fi in their building. I think pretty much all of us knew that, you know, going through tours or when we were there before for different meetings. But very recently, between Superintendent Tyler and the mayor and Bill Lennox, they have just implemented a MiFi into the building, and it's working pretty well. So they have to send their trucks out quite a bit when there's a problem with them, especially newer, always newer trucks, because they have computers in them. And it's very similar to like when you go and get your vehicle inspected and they have that little machine and they hook it up and it checks all the things that it needs to check. So this is very similar to that, this particular diagnostic tool. And with all the new computers that are in the newer cars, the newer vehicles, it's harder for them to detect when there's something wrong. So when they send it out, it actually costs them anywhere between $100 to $500 just to have it checked to tell them what is wrong with the vehicle. So this is very beneficial. And it's not just the Public Works Department that's going to be able to use it. They'll be able to check it for anybody else's vehicle, anybody else in the city. So it's a beneficial tool all around, I think. Any questions or comments? Councilor DeSimone.
Thank you, Vice President Jackson. That was exactly my question for 18 grand. Are we sure that it will be available to other department vehicles or other departments' vehicles?
Yes, I am sure. I actually asked that.
Okay.
To the superintendent, and he said, oh, we'll be happy to check anybody's vehicles. And you know, it's such a good question because like, as he was saying, he said, years ago, and I'm sure Council Blair would agree, years ago, you could listen to a car and you'd be able to hear what was wrong with it, or a truck or whatever. And you'd be able to say, oh yeah, I know that that's the converter, or, it's the engine, I don't know, muffler. But now, because they have all these new computers in them, you don't know what's going on with it exactly. So this will be able to detect that. It also is going to help them keep inventory, which we've all been asking for, of the vehicles, because it's going to say, every time a vehicle's hooked up to it, it's going to keep track of, okay, this is the last time you checked this. This is what was wrong with it. This is what you replaced. This is how much money you've spent on it. So it's going to be a wonderful tool to be able to help them keep inventory of their vehicles and to know what they should be looking for in the following year.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
So if this is a diagnostic tool, after it's diagnosed, they have the ability, do they have any ability to fix any of their new vehicles now?
Oh, yes, they can fix them. It's just a matter of determining what's wrong with them.
Right. So that's what I'm asking. So this diagnostic tool is going to tell them what they need to fix.
Correct.
Instead of going to Joe's Auto and they say it's this, and then we take it back and fix it ourselves. Is that what we used to do?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilor Blair.
Just to enlighten people that don't know, this tool at $18,000 is at the top of the line. I mean, these tools can go crazy, up to 50 grand or better, right? These computers. The biggest thing with them is once you get them, you got to make sure you get somebody trained on them. This isn't a one-time come in the shop and plug this in. These tools are a great diagnostic piece of equipment, but it doesn't tell you replace part B and the problem's done. It puts you in a general area. I'm sure there's mechanics down there that can learn that particular tool. If you haven't been in the trade for a while, the automotive trade is just spinning out of control. They're not mechanics anymore. They're truly technicians. So it's going to take some training. It should save them some money. But most people are under the impression that you plug one of these tools in and it tells you exactly what's wrong with the vehicle. It puts you in the right area and it helps, but it is a diagnostic tool. So the training that goes with it is very, very important, because I'd hate to see it bought and put in a corner because nobody knows how to use it properly. Thank you.
Yeah, I have all faith in the Public Works Department.
I know you do, Kate, but
yeah, and I love the fact that you could actually use this without the Wi-Fi, except for you wouldn't get the total, you would get half of the information that you need. It'd only give you half the grid. It'd only go this way instead of this way, and saying, hey, you got to get this done. So it's going to be a great tool for them to have, and I have good faith in them.
I agree with you. It is a good tool, but it is a diagnostic tool. It's
right.
It's not a cure-all. None of those tools are.
No, but it saves us money from driving it up. Every department who has these mechanics who want their tire changed, but they don't want to do it themselves, they send it up to another building, another place, and have it done. So it won't get done that way. Councilor Kobus.
Yes, thank you, Vice President Jackson. I just have one quick question, and I didn't see it on the backup information. Is there any recurring cost for a subscription for this? If this is connected to the Wi-Fi, to the internet, is there a maintenance cost that we'll need to incur? And
thank you for asking that question, because yes, I did ask that, and yes, there is, and it's going to come out of their own budget. They'll be able to take it out of the Public Works budget, but yes, there will be a cost. A yearly cost to update the diagnostic tool itself.
Do you know how much it is, or?
It's approximately $2,500.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And I have one more motion for this evening. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $4,885 from account 163-01000-51100 recreation salary and wages to account 163-01000-524002 recreation maintenance of recreational areas for repairs to breaks and spatcha pools, as well as Haywood Field backstop.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan. So I did speak with Superintendent Walsh, and they need to add 2 new gates to the Briggs and Spatcha pools due to security reasons and the safety of the people coming in and out of there. And the backstop at Haywood Field is a mess. So that needs to be repaired as well, and you don't want anybody to get hurt at the backstop as well. And he did lose 2 employees, unfortunately. So that's why he's taken out of salary and wages. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. That does it for the business this evening. For the Public Works Committee, I'd like to call for an adjournment at 8:26.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 8:26. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
So is budget canceled this evening or?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
budget and appropriations is canceled for tonight.
Okay, thanks. I'd like to call License Committee to order at 8:26, please. I have one motion and then one motion to discuss. So from the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve a scrap metal recycler junk dealer license for Polarized New England Company LLC, DBA Schnitzer Northeast at 136 Bacon Street.
Second.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Kate, I can't hear you.
Aye, sorry.
So the second one is the zoo wedding, if we all recall. I'm not going to vote that out yet. I need to do some more work on it. If anybody's interested, I spoke to, and I know President Cooper had asked about the detail and such. So I spoke to the police chief, and there's definitely going to need to have a detail with the size of this wedding and the fact that there'll be alcohol. So we need to discuss that. I spoke to Mr. Semple. He did add some things that I need to look into if he needs any type of permission. Apparently it's also going to be a carnival type theme thing. So he might have some performers there as well. And I know one of them, and I don't remember the name. Do you all remember the Winter Festival, the Fire Girl? Yeah. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I just can't remember her name. She spun the fire and everything. So he's thinking something like that, but I have to talk to the fire chief. And then I have to get back with the police chief regarding the music, because they haven't made a decision on music, if it's going to be a band or a DJ, but they are shutting it down at 10 o'clock. So I did speak to Mr. Semple, told him that I needed to look into his additional items and to speak to the police chief again, and then contact the fire chief. And then I'll report back to all of you, and I'll report back to him, and see if there's anything further we need to do. Questions? Okay, I think I saw Council Conti first.
So, Council Dolan, I think you should add the ABC to your list and talk to the chair of the Alcohol Beverage Commission. Formerly, that was Tony Viveros. And I can assure you, if Tony was still the chair, there would be no permit granted. He would see this as the camel's nose under the tent. So the Alcohol Beverage Commission has jurisdiction over the park and alcohol. And they may need a one-day license from the ABC. You should check. And that concludes my comments.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, Kathleen,
Thank you.
Council DeSimone.
Thank you, Council Dolan. So, yeah, so I've reached out to Derek about this because as far as I know, this is the first time that a request like this has been made. And I understand that it is Derek's take that this may be the beginning of something, which I'm kind of excited about because it could bring revenue to the city to have events like this, particularly when there's a backlog of events and weddings that were postponed due to the coronavirus. Having said that, a couple of points. Some of the issues you raised, Laura, seem to me to be outside the scope of the specific question, which is to whether or not to waive the no drinking ordinance. But having said that, that speaks to the fact that we need a bigger policy, perhaps more than this particular document covers, and that is our current jurisdiction. Do you understand what I'm saying? Your questions are good, they're valid, but they seem outside the scope of
I
this.
do understand. And as far as outside the scope, agreed. But this is at least my first one. I don't know about anybody else on the council. If anybody else has dealt with this, I know we have that one event at the park that we do. So this is my first go around, and I want to make sure that we don't give any blessing to anything that we shouldn't be. So I will go outside the scope to make sure that everything's in order to just be on the safe side.
I agree. And if I may conclude, I agree. As I said, I'm excited about the prospects, but I'm very well aware of the potential liabilities involved in this kind of event.
And they do have a $1 million liability at policy.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody read that in the.
They do. I think moving forward, and I had gone back and forth on an email with President Cooper, this is something to really explore in depth with other parties. So just an FYI, but I appreciate you doing your due diligence, because I was hoping that this wouldn't just get moved along without some pretty good consideration. So thank you, Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. President Cooper, and then Councilor Jackson.
Thank you. I will respectfully disagree with Councilor DeSimone. I think that because this is new, it's all fair game, right? The police chief does sign off on this application. Those questions, in my opinion, are very appropriate. The ordinance in which Councilor Conti is referring is regard to the sale of alcohol, and it's my understanding that because there is no sale, that the board is not interested in discussing this matter. That was my understanding. I'm happy to be wrong.
No, you're not.
I am also of the opinion that these, and we all remember it, those that were here, I'm going to remind you, those that don't. Remember when we were moving the fireworks from Haywood Field to Attleboro High School? Mm-hmm. How much screeching and telephone calls and front page newspaper that got, because it was going to be so disruptive to the park. When we as a council went through probably one of the most impressive things I've ever been through, was almost grabbing Walter Thibodeau's hand, walking into that tiger cage when I felt that thing breathing on me. I'd never been that close, but those types of things that I think can be revenue generating, right? To go have that experience should not be the cheapest venue in town. Quite frankly, in my mind, a Capron Park wedding being the jewel of the city and in Ward 2 should be not maybe the most expensive, but it's a destination wedding. Not everybody has their wedding in Capron Park. And in my opinion only, I'm one of 11, you can't change the plans after you come to the council and ask for their permission to use the park. The plans that you told us you had are the plans that you told us you had. And I'm sorry, but I'm slightly perturbed that now they want to do flame twirling and do this and do that and do the other thing in the park and never mention that to us. And I know weddings and I know it's COVID and I don't want to hear it. But the bottom line is this is new for us, and we have to make sure that it's done right, that we're asking the right questions. I'm in 100% agreement with Councilor DeSimone on the fact that we have to have a different application process for these types of things when they're coming through the park that are not park related, right? So, we all know, God love him, Francis Balut would be here right now telling us how wrong this is, right? So, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this is the right thing to do to explore these options, but I don't think we go full bull with throwers and fireworks, right? Have your tent, serve your alcohol, have a wicked cool wedding at Capron Park, be the first person to ever do it. I love all of that. But I don't think I'm behind some, performers and a lot of music and whatever else if it's going to be disruptive to the neighborhood and disruptive to the animals. And that concludes my comments.
Vice President Jackson, are you all set or?
No, I just wanted to mention a couple of things to you, Councilor Dolan. I do recall there being a wedding many years ago at the library and seeing the pictures in the paper. I don't know if alcohol was served or not. I'm not sure of that. So, might want to look into that. But also at the museum, I know that they've served alcohol at the museum before as well. So there's already a precedent that's been set as far as having alcohol on city property. Just so.
Point of order, Councilor Dolan. The city doesn't own the museum.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, we don't.
I stand corrected.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Reynolds, did you want to add anything? Or?
Well, I just want to fall in line with what Councilor Cooper and Councilor DeSimone have stated, is that I think it's great. It's a new thing for the city, and it could be really remarkable. But I'm concerned about a carnival-like atmosphere. I'm concerned about the add-ons that did not come before us. When you just brought them up tonight, I'm like thinking to myself, well, won't they have to come again before us and have a discussion and we start from scratch? I don't think that we can just start adding things and then plan to vote on them. I wholeheartedly think that we have to start smaller and then gradually move ourselves into a place that is acceptable to how large we might want these to be. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
No, this is a great conversation, and I agree with what everybody's saying. As far as the alcohol, President Cooper, you are right, because there's a letter from Allison because she handles the liquor licenses, so they're not selling. And I think that might be part of the problem, like what Councilor DeSimone was saying as far as a process, because when I spoke to the chief, so they sign off on a use of park grounds permit. That's it. So he didn't necessarily have all the details, you know what I mean? So as far as the alcohol and how many people and so on and so forth. So I think this process could absolutely be tightened up so that everybody's on the same page, and everybody that signs off on whatever they need to sign off on is well aware of what is happening and how many people are going to be there. And again, this use of ground permit says shall be presented to any police officer upon demand and may be revoked. Oh wait, wrong line. about city police department for special police detail may be required if more police officers, blah, blah, blah. So I think that needs to be clarified. Is there a threshold of how big the party is, if there's alcohol, if there's not alcohol? So I absolutely agree with Councilor DeSimone. I think if we plan on doing this in the future, we should tighten it up. But I also agree with, I mean, he didn't write that he was going to have a band or music, but I mean, it's a wedding. So I guess we should have known it's either going to be a band or a DJ. So I don't consider that a news flash necessarily that would change our minds. As far as the flame person, I mean, that doesn't necessarily bother me either. I mean, you know, the effects on the animals bothers me more than anything, as far as the noise and such. But anyway, so I'm going to try to get this all tidied up this week and hopefully have a meeting before the next council meeting. Oh, we're not, it's the 5th Tuesday. So we're not meeting.
Following week.
So the week before that, President Cooper?
Yeah, I just want to point out one additional thing. As a kid, I spent a lot of time in Capron Park, especially that parking lot, and I don't know how well lit that parking lot is. And I think when we've had Zoom Moon and that kind of thing, we've had to have auxiliary lights out there. So it's another thing to consider in this.
Why do you keep adding to my list?
I'm sorry. Because quite frankly, these are the things I heard from the lady who lives next door who was denied a wedding permit. Lives a couple of houses down, who was denied a wedding permit application there many years ago. She's not happy.
Well, I don't know anything about that one, but I'll look into that. I'll try to get everything, you know, all my ducks in a row and hopefully have all the answers to everything. So what's the date? So we're not meeting on the 30th, right? So April 6th. So I'll have like a quick committee meeting beforehand, if everybody's all right with that.
I think you should. Yeah, I think you should, if I may, Council Dolan, I think you should on the 6th call for meeting 6:30, 6:45, whatever, just to get this resolved and voted, because we wouldn't want to hold up anything that they're trying to do on their end.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. So I'll get that all taken care of. Hi, Virginia.
The other
I'm
thing,
sorry to interrupt. There is already a council meeting that night for a committee meeting for budget. So you'll just be working around that on April 6th also.
okay.
Oh, all right. Well, hopefully it'll be quick.
I just have one additional comment, and I think Council DeSimone had some great points. Her and I exchanged by email, and Council DeSimone, with regard to this matter, if you want to send that to the city solicitor and CC me,
Will do.
you and her can start to work that out, and maybe this is worthy of a new business item for this type of venue in the park.
Will do, President Cooper.
Thank you.
Council Holmes?
Yeah, I think it would be great to have that updated, because with Highland Park and just other areas as well, this could be something, so it does seem, if there's an interest, we should be exploring it in a more formal way, I guess.
Agree. Everybody else said, or anybody else have any other questions?
One quick question. Do you foresee the possibility of asking Mr. Semple to meet with us again?
I don't think so. When I talked to Chief Hegney might want to speak with him. And if if I can get all the information that he wants, or if he wants to speak with Mr. Semple himself, I'll reach out to the fire chief if there's any issues. I don't know, but I don't think so. It won't be necessary as long as the fire chief and the police chief and the parks are satisfied. I mean, that would be good enough for me to move forward.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable with the fire because of the animals, like you also said. So that was the only thing I was uncomfortable with.
All right, I'll talk to the fire chief and see what the deal is there.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, so we'll save that. We voted the other one out, so I'd like to call for adjournment at 8:44.
Second,
Thank you. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 8:44. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call the City Property and Claims Committee to order at 8:44. The other members of my committee are Councilor Blair and Councilor Holmes. And I have 3 matters this evening. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $4,520.73 from account 112410000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 112410000-558330 Citywide Copiers to purchase a new copy machine for the treasurer's office.
Second,
Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. They've been around a long time and it's time for a new one. Any concerns, questions? All those in favor?
aye.
Thank you. Peter?
Aye.
Okay. And that motion carries. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $119 from account 112410000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 117510000-542020 Planning and Land Use Supplies Office Equipment to purchase an adjustable desk riser.
Second,
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty explanatory and I have no concerns with it. Any questions or concerns? No, all those in favor?
aye.
Thank you. And that motion carries. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer, excuse me. From the docket of April 6, 2021, I entertain a motion to declare the following water department equipment as surplus and available for disposition. One weed eater push mower. The serial number is not applicable, but the condition is poor. One forward car lift, model number DP10A, serial number 143EH2680, and it's no longer in use. A Power American pressure washer, model number 15CWW, serial number 55000, poor condition. A Jaeger 6-inch pump trailer, model number 42393/4039FD001, serial number 9703-00006/T04039D547818. It's in fair condition. I have 2 Radix handheld meter readers. Their model numbers are both FW500. Both of them no longer work. One has a serial number of MS50518, and the second one has a serial number of ML00407. I have 2 Trimble Ranger handheld meter readers. They both no longer work, and the serial number of one is SSB6C59888. 8CE, and the second one is SS99C42685. And then the last item is a 1966 Army trailer. The plate number is M85853, and the condition is fair.
Second,
Thank you, Diana. So again, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Any questions, concerns, comments? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that motion carries. And that is all the business the City Property and Claims Committee has this evening. So I would like to,
Adjourn. Council Reynolds.
Yeah.
If we adjourn the 4 portable gas.
I'm not calling them out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Not next week, but the following committee meeting, could you give an update on what's going on with those? They've been in since November.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
And I will call you to explain.
Thank you.
Okay. So I am going to call for an adjournment at 8:49.
Second,
Thank you. All those in favor to adjourn at 8:49?
aye.
Okay, Peter, we are adjourned at 8:49.
Ordinance, Elections and Legislative Matters Committee is canceled this evening.
Senior Tax Abatement Committee's canceled for this evening.
We're a wrap. All right,
I think so.
I think that's it.
Good evening.
All right.
Thank you. Good
Good
night.
night.